So are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Basically, the only reason why I did any of this is because I've always wanted to watch a reunion.
Oh, okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 11, Episode 21, I guess. The reunion.
It is 21, yeah.
Part 1 of 4 of the reunion. Okay. I think something that I find so fascinating about this show is I have a weird hobby, like a slight passion for mediation.
Okay.
It's like a game. This makes it sound trivial in a way I don't mean it, but it's like a game trying to dissect what exactly happened and where it happened, where things went wrong and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting. There's a part of this, like, I understand the people who don't like it, totally get it. I was one of those people for a very long time. And frankly, it gets on my nerves. Yeah, I'm halfway through season 9, and it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, it's a bunch of middle-aged women squawking at each other for a fucking hour. That would grate on anybody.
But they're, like, anthropologically, it's like from a humanities perspective. Yeah, it is fascinating.
Right.
So I'm just basically going to go through my notes, and several things are questions, several things are comments, and we'll tackle them. Do you have any notes or anything?
No, I'm just ready to go. I'm so with this, because I had a feeling that you were going to be like, buckle up, buttercup, like ready to fucking go. So
this is a real tit flapper.
Yeah. So I watched it while I was like before I got ready for work today. But because I knew that you were like super in, I was like, I'm gonna let him drive this bus.
Hold on to your knickers, girl!
Out of the gate, just going to acknowledge we're in a simulation of Kathy Hilton's backyard.
Which is incredible. Wow.
There was a question as to whether or not she was going to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I was veering on no.
I was kind of hoping she wasn't going to.
Well, she needed to be prompted.
Mm-hmm.
I think she could have recorded the entire episode and not not realized.
Yeah.
Those are my French doors. But no. And it was stylized, but she did get it. She got there. Okay. I'm going to start with Erika because we do start with her and we come
really just right out of the gate, man. I mean, which made me very happy because let me tell you right now, if I had to wait until episode fucking 4 to get any of it, I was going to riot.
Oh, we're going to get some in each episode.
Oh, I know, which I love. So thank you, Andy and Bravo, for making that decision.
This is going to be a wave lapping up on the beach.
Love it.
So, I thought she did great.
Yeah, same.
We both like Erika.
Yeah.
You are a stan. I'm a casual fan.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, I went back and started season 10 because I wanted to understand the Denise Richards drama.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got 24 seconds into the episode when I need to go back more. And so I went back to season 9 and I was like, I need to go back more, but I'm going to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
I am currently at the camping trip.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about that now, but to illustrate my perspective, I do have a chunk of context, new information coming into this. So it was very interesting watching Erika in season 9 because it's not about her.
Right.
And she's preparing for a tour, so she's borderline absent.
Yeah.
And she's a little bit more of a, not a sidekick, but more of a like, frankly, a little bit more of like a peanut gallery. Like she was throwing like quips and stuff. Very funny. She has such a cadence. Mm-hmm. Like she has such a way of speaking that it's...
You have to pay attention.
But I'm like, is this you? Like, is it a performance?
No, I don't think so.
I think it might have started that way.
Yeah. But I think Erika, I think it's probably a part of like the Erika Jayne persona, or maybe it's the persona that she uses to feel more empowered. Like, I wonder if she feels, how do I want to say it? I don't know. I think it, to your point, I think it's, yes, that it started out as a persona, but now she's really leaned into it and it feels good.
I just like, if at the end of this reunion she stood up and like took the wig off and she was a drag queen, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Like it is like watching drag.
Yeah.
It is very much like and I do believe that she is being mainly sincere.
She finally said the thing. She said, I will answer your questions to the best of my ability.
And people were mad that she kept saying allegedly. And I'm like, why is everybody stupid? Why are people like like all over Twitter, people were like, oh my God, so what now? You don't believe? And it's like,
this is an ongoing lawsuit. Okay.
Which Bravo just got subpoenaed for all of their footage.
Really?
So that is one of the questions they asked. I'm going to ask you, should she have quit?
Probably. I'm of two minds about it. So to save face, probably. But also at the same time, I understand why she didn't. Because it's like, I have nothing to fucking hide.
I think it's a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
I think...
Well, I mean, that's literally life. Life is a crapshoot.
I think to secure her, like you said, save face, to secure her position, I think it would have been wiser for her to quit. But I also know that she is a hustler.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for her own... moving past this, judging that, she does not get in trouble, any significant trouble from this,
mm-hmm.
Her longevity, her career, her lifestyle post this will benefit from the work she's done
mm-hmm.
on the show.
Yeah, because she needs money.
So
if she quits in the middle of a season, I doubt that she would get paid the rest of her contract.
Well, and also just who's to say? Like, I mean, I'm sure like she probably could come back, whatever. But it was like, I think the wise choice was to quit. I think the smart choice was to stay.
Well,
you know what? Like the calculated choice, but
right. But so she says it at one point in the episode where she's damned if she did and she's
mm-hmm.
damned if she didn't, because you know that had she quit, people would have been like, oh, so what does she have to hide? She obviously is in on it because she can't have the cameras around anymore. Like she should have stayed if she had nothing to hide, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, but.
And I think she was very, very, very brave coming to this firing squad.
Yeah.
And
you can't fault her. So the people that don't like her, you can't say that she doesn't have balls. I mean, Jesus Christ.
So I thought she had a really good sense of humor. Talking on a couple of things. They talked a little bit about her relationship with Tom, and I think we'll get into that next week.
Mm-hmm.
But they commented about how Tom didn't read her book. That one's not surprising to me. Reading a book is, I mean, I guess if it's your wife, but I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, if you were married to me and I write a book, you're gonna have to fucking read that book.
Married, I get. So I
speaking of
wrote a book. And for instance, like my brother didn't read it,
mm-hmm.
but that's different.
That's
different. Okay.
That is assigned family members. You
mm-hmm.
chose to marry me. Okay.
Well, the egregious thing for me was the Chicago. There's no excuse.
Grounds for divorce immediately.
And
I'm sorry. I just want to throw out there, my father, and if anyone out here knows my dad, which you all don't, he went to Shakespeare plays, okay? He showed up for Shakespeare. You mean to tell me Mr. Tom Girardi could not get on one of his private jets to fly to go see his hot-ass wife in Chicago?
Mm-hmm. That was too much. Moving on, we check in with Crystal and Sutton. They are good. Mm-hmm. There was a consensus that actually they may be more alike than they are different. I had this at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Honestly, I kind of think, at least for part one,
mm-hmm.
I had a question: who came across the best? I think Sutton came across the best in this.
Yeah, because she has her shit together today or that day. Yeah.
And just looking back at her drama, it was quaint. Like, mm-hmm. It was almost like, oh, remember? Mm-hmm. And like they were laughing. She had a really good, her sense of humor was in check.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't like, there's something that really annoys me, and we get it the most with like Dorit and Lisa, in my opinion, in this limited thing, where they really want to take people to task over every word.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Dorit especially.
It's like, saying something pithy on Watch What Happens Live is not the character assassination.
I love that word. Sorry.
I mean, it's like, it's not the character assassination. You're trying to imply that it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can't handle a bitchy comment, like...
Yeah, literally, what are you doing?
Kyle, there was this whole thing in a talking head about Kyle talking about Sutton like it's like taking care of a toddler, and Sutton took it in stride. She was like my least favorite, and she's really hovering towards the top for me right now.
I'm just glad that she really was like, I think I was hormonal. I was like, yeah, girl, I think you're in menopause.
You have the... I don't know if people out there know you have an option to not double down.
Yeah.
Like, you can...
Yeah.
You can back up. I've been outspoken. I love Crystal. I think, as I've said each time, because she's a very grounding force, and she is very... you do not get a lot of drama with her. And I think that you need elements of that to balance out the drama that you do get.
The other screaming chickens,
I hope she's around, because I know one of the reasons that Teddy was dismissed is because people thought she was boring. And I hope Crystal doesn't fall into that. I think
that, and then her daughter that she gave birth to, like when they were filming, there was a lot of issues with, she had a lot of surgeries, I think, too.
We didn't get a big showing from Crystal here, but there's just a voice of reason from her, where she chimed in once or twice, especially, and we'll get to in a second, but Lisa and Garcelle, where she had to be like, to Garcelle, I think Lisa's being genuine here. That I really appreciate. A thing I did find interesting a little bit was when they brought up Sutton shading Amelia about the play date.
About the play date.
And Lisa had something to say. I'm not surprised. It was shady, and the implication was that, well, the way that I wrote, I understand Lisa being offended, but Sutton basically was like, I think Amelia's more worldly than my daughter is.
But also, like, she's correct. I mean, Amelia is a fucking model, and
it's like, oh, really, Lisa? Are you offended by that? Why don't you talk to Scott Disick about it?
Yeah.
I do like Lisa, but she was a piece of work in this.
Well, I think that's just her brand. Anyway.
I don't know.
She is a piece of work. Yeah.
Okay. We're getting, I think the meat of this reunion was Garcelle. Why are they so obtuse when it comes to Garcelle, and in particular, the topic of race? Is it as simple as their privilege is showing? That they've never really been challenged this way?
I think so. But I don't know. Keep going.
They worked overtime trying to paint themselves as like the victim.
Oh, when they made Garcelle tried to make Garcelle apologize to Lisa when
she said she heard someone say that
she has text messages from someone saying that Lisa didn't appreciate Garcelle bringing up race on the show. But she would not disclose who told her.
And Lisa denied it. I'm inclined to believe.
I agree. I feel like that's really not something that Lisa would say, because she just seems so game to listen and participate in every conversation where that happens.
And if she was going to say it, we'd have footage of it.
Yeah. And just because she is the type of person, if I'm going to say it, you're going to know I said it and I'm going to claim it. And so I found it really gross that they all kind of railed against Garcelle for bringing it up and then tried to make Garcelle apologize to Lisa for saying it. I was like, what are you doing?
Whether or not you were right or believe you were right or think you were right, there was a point in the middle where I was physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We had 3 white women screaming at and we'll get to Dorit in a second, but I don't see how they
I don't like it.
I don't see how they can't understand how it is part of, like, it's not an option for Garcelle.
Right.
To not.
They don't know that because no one has ever made them look at that.
They've never actually been confronted with it in this.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, they're in Beverly Hills. It's not the mixing bowl that we think it is.
From my opinion, it made the show better to see. Yeah,
I agree. I 100% agree.
I was the kid who liked watching The Real World, not for the drama, but for the actual, like, character growth and arcs. I like seeing people confronted with things, and I think people miss not misunderstand, that's the only word I have right now, but they miss people don't value the character growth or the strength in saying, oh, I was wrong, or they think that's a weakness or that's like a negative trait. And it's like, for someone to be like, I'm messed up, I was wrong, I'm sorry, that is valuable to me. That makes me like and respect you. It's not a sign of weakness. Do you know what I mean? And
yes,
people
absolutely.
think it is.
And I think the way that, I mean, Lisa was offended. And I mean, to be quite honest, if I were in Lisa's position, I would feel offended as well. And I think she was right in saying, why didn't you come to me when you got that information and been like, what the fuck is this? Because I would hope that my friend would do that. And then I would say, it's not true. And I'm very sorry that someone said that to you. That's how I would do it. Because, and it, like, if she had even, if with Dorit squawking, saying like, you need to say sorry, blah, blah, blah. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Don't make the black woman say sorry to a fuck ton of white ladies. Like, that's not.
Well, we went through a similar thing with the daytime talk show, The Talk, where Cheryl Underwood, I am a huge fan of Cheryl Underwood's, and you reach a point where Sharon Osbourne is absolutely shitting the bed on live TV, and Cheryl Underwood is having to apologize to her, and it's like, that's it. I don't know. I just don't see how, as mad as you are, Lisa, in that moment, I don't see how you can't understand even just the optics of lashing out that way. It was very strange, and to that, it goes to show that, well, I mean, it is honest, a reaction, and I guess I prefer that to being calculating and fake. But it reached a point where, and Garcelle shut down.
Oh yeah.
And I'm actually I'm a fan of Garcelle's, period, and I found her interesting on the show. We've talked a bit about how she does, and this is getting into the Dorit thing, she does needle people. She does throw jabs. I can't remember if I said this last time. I am going to go ahead and say it. I don't think it's like problematic or like anything like that, but I had a friend in college who was Haitian, and Garcelle has talked about her Haitian heritage and all that. They were very similar. So I don't know if maybe there's like a cultural thing here where certain groups of people, certain cultures have different ways of communicating, have different ways of like, you develop all this stuff. Garcelle just time after time after time was reminding me of this friend. Like this friend of mine, I adored her. We're still friends. We just haven't talked in a long time. But as far as I'm concerned, we're still friends. She would constantly say stuff, like she'd start to say something and she'd be like, well, never mind. And I would be like, what? And she'd be like, well, when we're not friends anymore, you'll use it against me or something. And I would be like, when we're not friends anymore? And she was like, friendships come and go, like life is fleeting. And I was like, sure, but why are you thinking of our relationship with an end date? And it was, but I kind of brushed it off with, oh, well, that's, and they're not doing that with Garcelle.
No.
And I'm not saying that they have to or should every time, but I am very much sort of a not apologist or in defense of passive aggression, but I think it has a place. I think that I don't want to live in a world where people are constantly stepping to me to being like, I've got a problem with you. And when you said this, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes I prefer kind of sometimes I prefer a little bit of a comment under the breath, and I'll kind of, do we need to talk about that? And I think that's where Garcelle is a lot of time. I think she's very frequently testing the water. The other place that I'm a little bit confused as to how they're confused is she made a comment about how sometimes she feels that her and Crystal and Sutton are on the outside of the group.
Mm-hmm.
They're the 3 new ones.
Yeah.
How can they not understand that?
Right. I really don't get that either. It makes me very confused.
And I
then,
mean,
but she even says it herself. She was like, well, they've been friends longer. You are correct. Yes, that is very true. In fact.
And I mean, yes, these women do develop relationships with each other, but to a large extent, this is an assignment given to them.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to go here with this person.
Yeah.
And I mean, so yeah, there's going to be, I don't know, there are times where I think, especially Lisa Rinna, I do think Garcelle was being a stickler with this, like, I'm open to forgiving you whenever that it's like we're either doing this or not. And I do love that Lisa kind of tackled her to the ground. I could see how some people would not have liked that.
The forcible hug at the end.
The invasion of space. I can see how that would be. I'm one of those
people where if I'm not okay with you, please don't force me to hug you. I still, there's like one particular story that I share all the time about this particular person. I knew that she did not like me, but she still did like this hug, and I fucking hated it because like I can be civil to you all day long. We don't need to do this part right now.
And Garcelle responded authentically. Oh, you think so?
So for me, her arms were not super outstretched, so she wasn't fully embracing Lisa back. It was, you were literally on top of me. I have to touch you. I have to feel happy. Like it just seemed very,
I thought her face seemed genuine. I mean, the 2 different interpretations, and they're not all that far out. Was what I was about to say is I don't know if she genuinely meant it or if it was just Stockholm syndrome because she needed to get out of this situation, and sometimes the best way out is through.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing where, and most of my assessment on most of these the incidents is both. But yes, both people have a point. A little bit of both. And in this, I do think that they need to show Garcelle a lot more grace. And I also think Garcelle needs to take it down a notch.
So to that point, do you have any thoughts on Dorit constantly calling her a bully? Or I guess, what are your thoughts?
I thought they were over.
I'm so fucking over that word.
I thought they were overestimating the power. I mean, it like...
Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, so I know that you've not watched a ton of the other seasons or like the other shows. They fucking throw that word around like it is...
Like it's a slur.
Like it's a C-bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just don't care anymore. If someone calls me a bully, I'd be like, okay, are you fucking 12? Like... You pay taxes, bitch. Like, come at me.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I think the word bully does have power, but I think they were overestimating or overselling its power. I actually find Dorit fascinating because I think there's something there. I just haven't determined how much. Not to go all Camille Grammer on us, but... I do like her. I do find her interesting, but there is something that doesn't connect. I think she was madder at Garcelle than she should have been or needed to be. I cannot believe she yelled at her that way.
I mean, to the point that like all of the women blanched, like. And
I don't think she meant to disrespect her. I think she meant to disrespect her in a "you're cutting me off."
Yeah.
But again, the optics of what they're talking about and having this woman screaming at this woman, it sent a chill down my spine.
Especially since Garcelle actually said, you know, I feel like you were trying to turn me into the stereotypical angry Black woman.
And she literally, okay, sorry. I'm going to trim my Dorit thing down because I actually wrote down notes. I was like, she talks with certainty far too often. Like she'll be like, I know this. And I'm like, well, you suspect this.
Yeah.
And with the angry Black woman, she was like, that was not at all what I was doing. And what she meant was that was not what I intended to do.
Right.
And the fact that someone who is as preoccupied as she is with that stuff, I'm like, you need to acknowledge that there is opportunity for miscommunication on your part. Well, she does acknowledge that, but do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is the perfect representation of Dorit herself, because we are like, oh. No, she splits hairs over really dumb shit, and I agree with you in that she talks in facts and certainty when she really should.
So this was what I was stumbling over, is because like I said, I'm watching season 9, and I'm currently in the middle of her versus Lisa Vanderpump.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes at this with, I know you leaked this story to Radar.
Mm-hmm.
No, she doesn't. She suspects.
Mm-hmm.
She has reason to believe, but you don't know that. So you can't say that. And then she's saying, I know you betrayed me, and I'm willing to forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not letting us move on? And Lisa's like, because if you don't believe me,
mm-hmm.
then there's no point.
Right.
It's not what Lisa's not hung up on is Dorit's grace and forgiving her.
Right.
It's the fact that I'm telling you I didn't do this, and you're telling me you don't believe me.
Right.
They're at an impasse, and how Dorit somehow has yet to be able to comprehend that's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's bizarre, because there's a lot of code words and phrases they say in the show. There's a lot of moving past this, and there's a lot of clearing the air, and there's a lot of clean slate.
Yeah.
And it's like they say these things in place of the actual work that needs to be done. It's like they know there's something that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, I just wanted to address the issue and move past it.
Right.
But you're not actually addressing it.
Right.
Like, I want a therapist to come in.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the therapist would be like, that was very ladylike. You're welcome. No, I agree with you, definitely, because it's just like, well, I want to start over. And it's just like, okay, but I'm still really fucking mad at you.
Still called me a liar.
Yeah. And so it's just like, what do I do? Like, I know I'm not a spiteful person, but I also never forget. So I would be terrible on one of these shows, because I'd be like, just the entire time, kind of like how Erika is when the camera's on her, just like this. So
I forgot to mention that Sutton's business is growing excrementally.
Oh my God. Oh, I saw a meme today that was like, she met a shit ton, so she's kind of not wrong.
Because I got there at the exact same moment that Erika did.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed so forcefully that I got lightheaded. It's something that I do sometimes when I think something's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually was like, I'm going to pass out if I keep laughing at this. Because she meant exponentially. Mm-hmm. And that is I say the wrong word all the time.
Oh my God.
That is a perfectly understandable slip.
Yeah.
But
I would 100%, if someone showed me the meme of it, like, it means a shit ton, I'd be like, that's exactly right.
This is growing.
It is growing a shit ton.
And Erika just goes. I had to pause it. It took me to the moon. This is another thing that I do have issue, especially with relationships and friendships, is there's something that I say where it's like, one of my secrets for successful relationships is I feel like if you're truly trying to make a relationship work, you have to care about the other person as much as, or sometimes even more than yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing to let things go, or you have to be willing to strip bare or meet in the middle. And so often these women are coming at each other like it's a battlefield. Mm-hmm. And you have to be, Dorit has to be able to be like, I was confused and hurt by what you were saying. Help me understand what you mean. Mm-hmm. Like, explain to me what you mean, versus this hurt my feelings and you were wrong. And it's like,
well, and so my whole thing is, okay, obviously this is how Garcelle communicates. Like, she picks, right? So first couple of times, okay, I don't like when you do that, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, if she still kind of does it, start doing it back.
Or just accept it and move on.
Yeah. I mean, my family's a really hard family.
I can't control everybody's tics.
Exactly.
Like, at a certain point.
My family's a really hard family to grow up in because everyone picks at you. It's just a thing that they do. I am a sensitive person, but after a while, I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? Because I can't I've cried. They know I don't like it. And now I'm to the point where I don't say anything. Because I have nothing nice to say, so I don't say anything. Or I just go, like that.
And they take so many of these things like their declarations of war. And it was like they were really hung up on that one side where Garcelle was like, well, I'm Team Sutton. And as if that was like written in stone. And I was like, I mean, in that moment, that's her perspective.
Yeah.
Your reaction to that was stronger than it needed to be.
Right. And also when they were like, why didn't you say that in the moment? And it's just like, well, I was outnumbered at a dinner party. And so it's just kind of like, well, I cut my losses.
I remember one time in high school, this girl who I didn't like came in with like a dumb hairstyle. And I whispered to my friend, who my friend was Kristen. We were in school together. And I made a comment about her hair. Mm-hmm. And one of her friends overheard and told her. And she like got in my face.
God, that's my worst nightmare.
She got in my face and was like, if you have a problem with me, you say it to my face. And I kind of bristled a little bit. And she was like, is something funny? I was like, I mean, I literally would never. I apologize. I was wrong for talking shit about you. Mm-hmm. I was 15. I saw an opportunity to make my friend laugh. I took it. Mm-hmm. Lesson learned. But I'm like, could you imagine if she walked in and I tapped her on the back, was like, I don't like your hair.
And then just moonwalked it right
Sociopath.
out of it.
Sociopathy.
Yeah.
So when they're like, you need to say it to my face, I'm like, there's a Kathy Griffin bit where she's like, I have manners. I wait for you to leave the room and then I talk about you.
Right.
Like, it's like not everything needs to be. It goes back to that Twitter thread Kristen had us read a couple weeks ago where it was like, we don't need to be taking in this level of feedback. Like, some gems can just go into the ether.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what's tough because, you know, with this type of show that they are on, they play what you say when the person is not in the room. And so, you know, again, I'd be so terrible on the show because I just wouldn't say anything.
I'm remembering now. We have 3 more weeks of this, so we'll probably pick back up where we left off with some of these. Mm-hmm. Kyle was in Halloween Kills this Friday. You can watch it on Peacock.
What?
You can watch it on Peacock.
You can?
Yeah.
Why?
They're releasing it on Peacock. And in theaters.
Yeah, like what a weird choice for Peacock.
Well, I mean, they don't have anything. Disney Plus Disney has Disney, and Paramount has
fair.
HBO has Warner or whatever. Is it Warner? I don't remember.
Well, good on you. Good job.
I'm kind of excited. I don't know if you're.
I had a dream about Mike Myers last night, and I have watched a nary a Halloween film, and I did not appreciate that.
Do I make you horny?
Oh my God, you are the second person today to make a fucking joke.
Because you said Mike. His name is Michael Myers.
Oh, did I? Well,
yeah, baby.
Mike Myers stabbed John Stamos in the face and leered at me and my brother in the window, and it was very upsetting. It was Michael Myers. It was not, in fact, fucking Mike Myers.
You watched Muppet Halloween, Muppet Haunted Mansion, and then listened to some of Halloween, and your brain just was like, ah!
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But it was very scary. It was very stressful.
So anyways, I don't know who you are watching this. If you're new to our show, for the Housewives, we typically cover movies and TV and stuff. So Stay tuned for our Halloween Kills review.
Yes.
That's that.
I won't be a part of that one.
No.
So I don't like scary things.
So we have my last 2, which was who came across the best. And I said Sutton. Funny, quaint. She took her criticisms well.
She got dumped on Valentine's Day. I just can't. Could you imagine? Holy shit. Wow. They were away on a trip. And he said, I just can't.
It's better, like, how do you not before the trip?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if you're on the trip after the trip.
Yeah.
Like,
not in the middle. Not in the middle, my dude. You don't do that. Making me go home and assaulting on you. Don't do that, okay? It's not okay.
We did mention Kathy came out, but nothing really.
No, she this
happened
next
yet.
episode, yeah.
And then guess for me, finally, best dressed.
Ooh, no. I actually don't super love any of the looks. I like Crystal's the best, I think. I mean, Dorit's hair, fire. Dorit's dress, fire.
Oh, really?
I
can't with her dresses.
It's like fire. I just don't like anyone else's.
I had, surprise, Sutton. I thought she looked the best, especially sitting. I thought the shoes were great. I thought the dress was great. I like the earrings. I like the hair.
I do not like the earrings.
And I was wondering.
Like the hair.
Really?
Yeah. No. It's sometimes she really will knock it out of the park, but I'm also one of the ones that liked the pussy bow. Like, I loved that. That was all of it was really good, really clean.
I thought Garcelle looked great standing, but I didn't think it translated to.
And the illusion, I mean,
it was weird.
It's the color of white skin. So
I thought it was blue.
It probably would lay flush better on someone who is paler.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I just wish that the illusion was more nude.
Mm-hmm.
With her skin tone, I think it would lay a lot better that way.
And I think whatever Kyle's wearing is hideous.
Yeah, but I like her hair though.
I do like her hair.
It's giving me 2001 vibes. God, because we're back there.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
As all of my grades are showing today.
Mm-hmm. And I thought Erika looked good. That's always a toss-up.
I don't like it. She has just so much better stuff. Like it looked old lady-ish.
Well, I was about to say it was like soft in a way that isn't she usually coming in with like harnesses and like pleather
and just cunty.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. Like usually her
it was very blush. I was like, oh
yeah, her reunion looks are fairly pared down. She's not coming in like a bodysuit or anything like that.
that red latex with the bang.
Amazing. Inspired. I fucking
kind of
love
looked like
it.
Pinocchio. Like a bondage
no, I fucking
Pinocchio.
love it. It was Berlin and it was incredible. So I mean, this is Dynasty, but this is like the ugly part of Dynasty of the 80s. Like I don't but the Veronica Lake hair I really liked. The soft curl. I really liked that a lot. Yeah, just not my fave. Not my fave.
Okay, well, I can't wait to find out how long we went.
Right. Well, it's 7 o'clock.
So that was part 1. We'll be back with part 2, 3, and 4.
Grab a snack. If you're gonna binge these all in a row when we're done, I mean, grab a snack.
So, like, subscribe, follow along, website, Patreon, Cashapp, Venmo, all of that, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Are you watching Trixie and Katya?
No, I just love it. Well, sometimes I do, but just goodbye.
Have you seen that episode?
Yeah.
Okay.